where we are going to answer your questions and dive deeper into the experiences that we've all been kind of going through thus far. So, just to level set, this live session is part of Astro-Vision 2024, which is a course that is free for literally the entire year. Everything about it's free. You can sign up now and get the 2024 overview and quarter one astrology videos. Those are already up there, already rocking. Plus, there is a collective tarot reading specifically just for participants and a downloadable key date sheets as well. I will be doing this every quarter, and being part of the course ensures that you get first access to all of the information, exclusive content, and your questions take priority in these live sessions. Plus, who knows what Spirit's going to bring forward and what might come into those sessions in the future. But for sure, you need to go out and you need to sign up today. It's all free. You can find the link to sign up in the description box or in my profile. Whether you're a seasoned astrologer or just beginning to dip your toes into the cosmic waters, today's session is for you. We are going to recap what we have experienced thus far, what astrological alignments are up next in this quarter. And then I've got the list of questions already here, already good to go. And then if there are any other questions, this is where you get to use the chat to put those in. If you're watching live on YouTube or X, put your questions in the chat as we go along. Excuse me, I'm going to try to get X up here. We'll see. And then welcome aboard, Astro Visionaries. Let's make this time a time to remember. So, excuse me. All right. Let's kind of level set on where we've been. Ooh, excuse me. Whoa. All of a sudden, all that sage just came in and was like, we got to clear this throat chakra out for you so that way you can deliver these messages. Thank you to the ancestors. So, January, let's talk about where we've been thus far in this quarter. I do have the tarot here, especially to help guide if there are any questions that are asked that just aren't really coming through or not really getting a message. We've got the tarot to kind of help us out with that. But in January, and just for the quarter in general, we level set on the theme of it's just peachy. Now, I don't know about y'all, but there has been peachy moments, but it ain't all just peachy. Personal experience, it has been quite a start to 2024. In January, we saw the Capricorn new moon. We had a Leo full moon that, quite frankly, was pretty like in your face and powerful. We saw Mars get into Capricorn, Mercury in Capricorn. We kind of had this like Capricorn cluster going on. Aquarius season, which Pluto ingressed into Aquarius the same time as the sun. Knight of Pentacles wanted to come out and show its face. And then Venus got into Capricorn. And that Pluto Kazemi, where the Pluto, the sun, 29 degrees, 59 minutes of Capricorn met up in this like perfect sun's kiss to the end of Capricorn season, and both dived right into Aquarius right after that. Mercury and Mars conjunct each other for the final time, so there's a little bit of messaging going on there. And then our personal planets, which started at the end of January and brought us through to February, squared Chiron in the North Node. And this is all preparatory energy. This is all preparation. This quarter is full preparation to get us into April and quarter two, where we've got our eclipse season and the great Chiron eclipse. So that was January. That's all the energy we've already been through. We survived. You're here. Congratulations. And then now we're headed into February, which again had that personal planet square Chiron in the North Node energy into it, like to kind of start it out. And really the first half of February, which as we're recording this, it's the 10th. It is still in the first half of February. We're not really getting moving until we get past this Aquarius new moon. And really the fun starts, let's look at this. The fun really starts on the 13th. The 13th, 14th, and here we go. We just kind of keep rolling on. So we had an Aquarius new moon yesterday. How was your experience? Drop it in the chat if you have questions about it, about what you're kind of going through. I'm still feeling it today. In fact, last night, just it wasn't even a 2 a.m. club where I woke up at 2 a.m. It was we ain't sleeping. Let's get in, let's get creative, let's get this expansion going. Had a wonderful meetup with a fellow astrologer and kind of did some chart exchange. That was really fun. So very creative energy, which I was very like, that wasn't my intention going into the Aquarius new moon, but that's really how it came out, and I'm very grateful for that. But we're still kind of pulling on those vestiges today. So this Aquarius new moon, when I talked about it in the Twitchy Tuesday episodes, was very much like it was internal. There's something very personal about it for you. Again, that kind of pinged for me in a creative area. Um, but it's the catalyst, it's the doorway, it's the portal, it's the opening into what is coming up going forward, that Knight of Pentacles energy, right? Like this is not about having our kingdom already built, having the empire. We're not at the emperor, we're at the knight, which is the one that actually goes out to create the empire. So we're still having a little bit of that. We need to still take action on things. So then we hit the 13th. Why is the 13th important? Well, that is when Mars ingresses into Aquarius, and then that kind of starts this chain of events going forward. It's now Mars is far enough and out of sign from the square with Chiron in the North Node. So that's wonderful. Thank you. Um, but it kind of starts this chain of events that leads us through the end of February, getting us into Pisces season and then into March. So Mars in Aquarius, Venus in Aquarius, we will hit Pisces season on the 18th of February. Mercury will ingress into Pisces on the 23rd. We have on the 19th, um, North Node and Chiron. That's what I was looking for. The North Node and Chiron, the big conjunction happens on the 19th at 16 degrees, 45 minutes of Aries. That, all of this personal planet square in January, this North Node conjunct Chiron is a continuation of that. And this conjunction is a continuation, or will be the continuation, will be the portal entry point, will be a grander story as we get to the great Chiron eclipse happening in April, and then our future eclipse season happening towards the end of the year in quarter 4. So, excuse me, that North Node conjunct Chiron is something to watch. There is potent energy that kind of like, I'm just seeing it as like bomb explodes, like boom, pure white light fires up, intensifies that 19th, that middle of the month of February, and just kind of like we got to wade through. This is like Icarus actually getting into the sun, going down to ashes. It's that moment of ashes. And then from that point, things can come forward, things can be rebuilt. Icarus can rise again. We also have Venus conjunct Mars in Aquarius. That will be fun. That will be a little spicy, a little I love this feeling. There's something, again, for me personally, Aquarius is really showing a lot of creativity. So having Mars and Venus, the lovers there, that kind of puts this really great spin on it. It puts little feisty spin, a little like might be some sexy time on the 22nd. Why do we need to worry about the 14th? Let's do some sexy time on the 22nd. There you go. And then we have Mercury and Saturn doing their cazimi on the exact same day. I haven't felt into that yet. I haven't really channeled into the fact that we have Mercury and Saturn both meeting the sun in this cazimi in Pisces on the exact same day, which means they're also conjunct. So that's kind of an interesting day. That's going to happen on the 28th. That's going to take us into the month of March. And March is where eclipse season starts. Going into March, I talked about it. The whole month is really I mean, it's so Piscean. It's very much like lost in the nimness, wading through the waters, getting the sludge up, kind of like really having that final moment of relaxation, of intuitiveness, of everything before we jump off into Aries season. But because it's so much more about the transits, like there's excuse me, about the events of the month versus a bunch of transits. Like here we have a bunch of conjunctions or we have a bunch of, you know, squares or anything. That's not really what March is about. It sticks more to the bigger, broader things. Which I like. I like that. I like that March gives us this moment to look more big picture and not have to focus on the details. Oh, we had a card fly out. Look at that. Six of Swords. Yeah, this is March. First of all, wading in the water. We can get there. Like that's the thing that I love. Like the Six of Swords can have a lot of different meanings to it, obviously, like any card. The Six of Swords for me, especially in this context as we're thinking about it with March, is really that like knowing the faith, having the knowing, having the understanding we are in the Piscean realm, we are at the great goddess, we are at that higher octave of that all of those things are very present, which we've got the water here, but it's the faith and knowing that you can wade through the water to get to the other side, even if your boat maybe isn't the greatest boat out there right now. It's I'm getting also the understanding of the river Styx. Like, did you pay did you pay the boatman? Did you lay down and pay the boatman? If so, you should have faith that you're going to make it to the other side. Now, I know that can be a little deep and morbid, but this is Pisces we're talking about here. It is the death before the rebirth. So there's something with the Six of Cups that's really for March, honing in on you can make it through. There is light on the other side. You have enough to get through Pisces season and get into April, get into Aries. You have enough, and don't be fearful of what is to come because you've already gone through. I mean, there's six swords here. You've already gone through six things. We've already gone through February. We've already gone through January. We've already done some Pluto work here. We've done some shadow work here. So there is that horizon line to look forward to. It is going to come out on the other side. So we have the Pisces new moon. Then we'll do a Libra. Ooh, wow. The first of our eclipses, the Libra lunar eclipse happening on March 25th. We'll get Aries season on the 19th. Mars will ingress into Aries. Hey, 322. Love that Mars getting into his home sign. Mercury will be in Aries on 3/9. And then Venus kind of is, oh my gosh. Okay, then this is, look, that Six of Swords is just going to stay right on the top. We're just going to keep that energy vibing right now. Venus in Pisces will be March 11th. So again, Venus and, Venus is we're kind of moving. She's kind of doing her thing. She's enjoying life. We get the spring equinox though. And that is Aries season. Oh, we got another card out. Nine of Wands. Here we go. Aries season, spring equinox, Austera. Love it. Love that change. Love that spring is here. Hopefully from a actual physical perspective, we don't have false spring. We don't we don't have a haha, just kidding. Let's go ahead and kick you back into winter. Totally could happen. Totally understand. But there's a lot of movement that comes in when we get to the equinox, when we get to Austera. There is need. I mean, really during this time, you're building you're building this fortification within yourself. You're putting, okay, these are the habits I'm going to get into place. These are the habits that I have in place. These are the things that I'm going to be doing. This is the understanding that I have as I go into the next quarter, the zodiac new year, as the wheel turns and things start to bloom. What am I incorporating? What am I going to be doing in this? Because we will have Saturn, Neptune, and Chiron conversations happening in March with a Neptune Cazimi. So this energy is going to be very present, and then that's going to immediately get us into April, and the second eclipse, the Great Chiron eclipse. That's what I'm calling it personally. That's how I'm reading it. And this is going to be necessary. The fortifications, the ability to discern, the understanding that you have to go out and explore and make sure the foundation is set. You have to do the work. This is all about doing the work because things aren't completed yet. This isn't a cherry on top of the cake. The cake is out the oven. It's cooling. It maybe have some icing on it, but it is not fully done yet. We are at a 9, not a 10. All right. So that is level setting through what we've already are seeing in quarter 1 and how we're going to finish quarter 1. So let's go ahead and get to the questions. I have a few questions here, and actually, somebody messaged with the 3 of hearts. Somebody called for a 3, or excuse me, 3 of swords, 3 of hearts. Like I'm playing poker or something. Which, hey, great divination tools in their own right. But anybody call for a 3 of swords? If that's pinging for you, put it in the chat. Let's get some questions around this 3 of swords. I'm gonna keep it out because I love the 3. 3 means that we're here and the ancestors are talking. Let me see if I can figure out. I mean, here we are. We're live. 3 of swords. Oh, okay. We're gonna turn that all the way down. All right, I'll keep X up. So if there are any questions on X, I should be able to see them now. And here we go. So the first question, and maybe this is where this 3 of swords is going to come from. First question we got in, or we have. What are the most significant astrological events in 2024 that we should be aware of? Great question. And this is also very personal. This can be a 3 of swords. This can be a very personal question because each of us have very unique natal charts. Each of us interpret energy differently, are in different parts of our path and our journey. So I'm going to answer for the things that I'm watching out for within my own chart, in my own day to day, but also like I just think are really interesting and really cool things from a collective perspective. So, astrological events of 2024, Jupiter in Gemini. When Jupiter ingresses into Gemini, that is going to like talk about wind of change, like, Oya, hello, thank you, Oya, we appreciate you. Like, this is going to give such motivation and movement forward, and you're going to feel the air and the expansion of the ability to like sift through things, talk through things, um just open yourself up to all of the potentials. Some people do struggle with duality, the nature of things, the two sides to every coin. Jupiter can come in and like be able to expand that vision for you, that thought process for you, to help you see different ways of doing things. Now, the one thing with Jupiter is gigantic, right? Like, think about Jupiter is so large that he actually holds the asteroid belt for us from like asteroids just coming and pinging. He is that protector because he is so big. In being that big, think about it from, let's talk about it from the tarot perspective. Think about it from the emperor perspective. If you are an emperor of a land, Genghis Khan did not know every individual person in his land. He has an idea how many people are in your land, but did he go and physically meet every single one? No, didn't happen. That's what you need to think about with Jupiter. So Jupiter is about expansion of the collective, expansion of the bigger picture, expansion of what is, what could be and what can come. When it comes to an individual level, Jupiter works with you as an expansion of what is in you already. So, depending upon where Gemini is in your natal chart, where you see that as your houses, what house Jupiter is going to be going through, or houses Jupiter is going to be going through, depending upon how you read your natal chart. This is that thing where if this is already something that is very tender for you, it's less dignified. Thanks to my new friend that taught me that word, less dignified. Um Jupiter is going to make that even bigger. He's going to put that magnifying glass on it and make it huge. But if it's something where it's like, man, yes, finally, here we go. I know where I'm at. I know what I want to do here. I've been waiting for this moment. He's going to make that energy bigger as well. So that's Jupiter in Gemini. I am looking forward to eclipse season. It is significant, and there are two different realms of eclipse season. I am right now really focused on this great Chiron eclipse because it's the one that's coming up the most recent. But there is significant eclipses happening in October that, you know, until I personally get through this Chiron eclipse, I am trying to focus here and not so much like know that that's coming, but I want to give the respect in the October eclipses, September, October eclipses that they deserve. I think it's September and October. It could be October, November, but I want to give them the respect that they deserve and the energy that they deserve. So I eclipse season is always large. These are new eclipses. We're in a new axis with Aries and Libra. And then we'll have our first Pisces. So that kind of taste of the next realm, which is going to be those Pisces eclipses. So get through the great Chiron eclipse. That's the big one. Another significant astrological event is Saturn and Neptune. We get some taste as we go through the year of their conjunction, which isn't going to happen until like 2 years from now, a year from now, 2 years from now. Somebody fact check me on the date because I don't have them in front of me. But this year in particular, Saturn and Neptune are going to be the closest that they're going to come to that conjunction. So it's within a 10-degree orb. So it's something where if you are journaling, if you are looking, if you like to, you know, say, okay, well, what was it like back then? What things did come up right when this happened? This is a good time, that Saturn and Neptune taste. It's a good time to kind of like be journaling about what you're experiencing because that may become larger and more prevalent as we go into the next 2 years. We have a three-part series of Jupiter square Saturn. That's also something pretty significant. Jupiter square Saturn. That's, you got our great benefic, our great malefic squaring each other in three parts. So there's a message, there's something there. Mars. Mars, I called it at the beginning of the year. Mars is my planet to watch this year. We've got Mars doing a Cancer Leo retrograde. He'll spend extended time in Cancer. This is also personally, I have natal Mars in Cancer. So this at 29 degrees. So this is a big like Mars transit for myself. So Mars is really my planet to watch for this year. Plus, he will make oppositions to Pluto with that degree orb for 9 months. So he'll ebb in and out with his retrograde with that, but 9 months, I said 9 months. So Mars is my planet to watch. And then the last thing that I'll say for the question, what are the most significant astrological events in 2024 to be aware of, is the October full moon in Aries. That is going to occur on October 17th. Um, I'm calling it this moon because it is so like looking at the chart, I was like, whoa. I'm gonna go ahead and put that over here. We're gonna put that over here. Go ahead and just leave that right on the desk. We'll look at that as we get closer to it. Um, but it is something that I am watching for. It is something that as we get closer, I think that moon is going to be very, very, very impactful. So that is that first question. Checking to see, I don't see any questions on X yet. So again, if you have questions, pop them in the chat. But the next question that I have is, can you explain the importance of Mercury retrograde phases and how to navigate that? I love this question. Mercury retrograde. So here's the thing. Oh, okay. Well, then we're going to start shuffling because obviously there's additional messages. I put the Three of Swords back. That had to do with kind of collective experiencing. Mercury retrogrades. So I am a mercurial ruled individual. I have a lot of air energy in my natal chart. I am a Gemini rising. So Mercury for me, um, it's not the Empress. Hey. Let's see what else comes out. Mercury for me is not really something like Mercury retrogrades. I utilize to understand where in my chart, what product temperance. Here we go. What product or what themes in my life might I want to start to relook at? That is personally how I navigate Mercury retrogrades. Mercury is spinning super fast. He is our planet of communication. He is our messenger. He is the one that takes messages from the earth, brings them up to God's, and brings them up to the ether, brings them up to the universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it, and anywhere in between those realms. He can timeline jump. He is the guardian of the crossroads. He is aligned with Eshu, in if you know anything about orishas or study Ifa. So Mercury retrogrades are a time to just take a step back because they happen often. Like that's the one thing, is this is not new information. This happens all the time. We get typically 4 a year, and it goes through different signs. So different elements typically. So that's the first thing that I always look at when I'm navigating a Mercury retrograde. What year am I in, and what types of elements is Mercury retrograding in? So this year's fire, and we are in a harvest year. Well, that's perfect, because guess what we need to do, or potentially may need to do after we harvest, the Empress here, after we get all of our harvest out, what might we need to do? We might need to scourge the land. We might need to cleanse the land. Temperance here, cleansing the land and then bringing forth back the water, the energy of life, the sun, the nutrients back to our land, so that way we can then begin the next cycle of manifestation. So now that I've gotten, for me, now that I've gotten the element that I'm working with, now it's, where is it at in my chart? What house is it in? And that's now the theme of life, where I, during Mercury retrogrades, just want to take a scrub at it. How is, let's say it's the third house with communication, because that's Mercury's rulership. This is great. Wait, it's in fire. I'll do it as it's relevant to 2024. Let's say it's in Aries. Okay. And this is all about the self. Now, Aries for me is in a different part of my chart than the first house. It's still all about the self. Depending upon the house system that you use, it's either in my 10th or my 11th house. So let's call it the 10th, which is where work is, which is where you earn, which is where you, you work with others. It's your job, your occupation, how you gain self-importance in the world, etc. So if Mercury is retrograding in Aries in my 10th house, my personal navigation would be to look at my work. This is also part of my work. And how am I talking about things? What type of language do I want to clean up? Is there something that I should be thinking about differently? Am I taking feedback from the community that's around me, from the people that I work with, from the people that I share this energy with? What type of feedback am I receiving, and how can I relook at that? Is it time to do something new? Do I need to switch up, for example, on Twitchy Tuesdays? Do I need to switch up the cadence or the content inside of it, make a little adjustments? These are all things. Now, I may not take action on those things, but these are the things. It's like a little checklist. It's like a rescrub. Nope, that's actually working great. Awesome. Then on we go when Mercury goes direct. Um, I do know, I do know many people actually that get like, oops, hold on. We got a new card out. Oh, here we go. Five of Pentacles. Wait until you hear what I was going to say. I do know people that get reached out to by people from their past quite often. It's like clockwork every fucking Mercury retrograde, regardless of what sign, what house, what element it is in, what modality it's in. There is a reach out from the past. And this personally doesn't happen to me very often. It has happened, but like not on a consistent Mercury retrograde basis. Um, for those that is very prevalent, if you've ever tracked that and you're like, holy shit, that really does happen to me. This is just like those kind of like, there's something here that you can still see. It's asking you to look at your growth. Are you celebrating your growth? Is there still things with this Five of Pentacles here? Is there still wounds there? Is there still things that need to be healed there? Is there a way to relook at it? Is this now an opportunity? Because again, I've said for years now, the universe never gives you a no. It gives you a not now. So, with this being a five, a change, an agent of change, especially in the Pentacles, was there something, someone, some whatever that was a not now in the past that now can be relooked into your future? It's another very great way to look at Mercury retrogrades. Um, but Mercury needs, Mercury needs to go through that cycle, needs to show us what's possible. Mercury's retrograde and the importance, if you look at it just from an astronomical perspective, Mercury heralds in, he's the heralder of things. He's the one, like, think of the trumpeter that, announces the dawning of the day, and um, the trumpeter that then puts us all to sleep. And if it wasn't for Mercury's cycle around the sun and these retrograde periods, he wouldn't ebb and flow, being that heralder of either the dawn or the dusk. And those are two very important things, because what do? We live our life between these two. The twilight of morning, the twilight of night is always typically and has been in, ancient texts and everything, kind of heralded as like the witching hours, the mystic hours, the hours that are really great for connecting with spirit and things of that nature. And as we transition from night to day, in the in between is where life occurs, where most of our active life occurs. So here you have Mercury, who is the messenger between all linear timelines and all, gods, goddesses, universe, energy, etc. And he heralds in the messages from where he was at night, bringing it into the day so we can take action on them. And then here he heralds in the nighttime, so that way he can take the things that we need that have been given to us during the day, the information that we need to gain, and it allows it to go through at night. So potentially we can gain that information in our dreams or in other meditative states. Mercury retrogrades are very, very, very important. Okay, next question. What role do the outer planets play in our personal astrology for 2024? King of Swords. Well, let's give it to you really, really real. They personally, outer planets do work on an individual level because they're part of your chart. They're part of where you're at. They absolutely, especially if you include Saturn and Jupiter into that. However, King of Swords, it is always good to understand that when we get to things like Uranus, Chiron, and I know Chiron's not a planet, just work with me here, but these outer entities, Uranus, Neptune, Chiron, Pluto, these are much more about the collective and generational sort of things, movement of the collective forward, where it's more so about you not losing yourself in the whole. So, a Pluto transit, for example, Pluto getting into Aquarius where it is, this is a collective initiation that we are going through. Now, as an individual, where it's at in your chart, you will feel potentially, maybe depending again, where Pluto's at in your chart, you may not feel it as intensely as somebody who has, Pluto opposing their Mars, natal Mars. Hi, that's me. Um, or if it's around another planet point, anything of that nature. So Pluto is going to still be working at that collective level, that high beam level, moving things around collectively. And then we are now being identified to transform in our own way, in our own life, as a transformation is happening in the collective as well. So it's when it comes to outer planets playing with our personal astrology and playing in our personal development, etc., it truly is about that connection piece of understanding that we are individuals having an individual experience that are part of a collective having a collective experience. There's no separation between the two, but it is through our individual experiences that the collective gets to have a broader, more in depth, more fruitful experience. But regardless, if you choose to do your work or not and have your experience, the collective's going to do it anyways. And that might end up nudging you, pushing you, whatever that looks like, into your own experience, the one that you were supposed to be an active participant in that you chose to sit out of. And that's totally fine. We need all of that. That's the other thing that outer planets give us is it gives us this, they're longer term transits, which is always nice because it's not like, a really intense Mars transit, which is like hot and heavy, and then it like disperses and you're kind of left with like, whoa, that was 3 months of I don't know what. These are much longer and has the span, which allows us to ingrain a little more. There's so many opportunities. Let me put this down and get another card. There are so many opportunities with outer transiting planets, outer planet transits, excuse me, that allow for us at multiple times to switch gears, to make a different choice, to go from being a passive to a more active participant in what we're experiencing. So, let's see. Next question. Oh, I love this one. How can tarot enhance our understanding, oh, hello, of astrological influences? Well, okay, let me put this King of Swords back because they're just being a little feisty right now with the cards, like, hey, we're missing one. What is happening? Um, I firmly believe, oh, here we go. King of Pentacles and Knight of Pentacles. Very nice, very masculine energy. Which the magician is. The magician is a masculine energy, which is the archetype that I find with any sort of divinatory practices. So that's where I was going. Astrology for me, in my personal belief, is nothing more than a divinatory system in its own right. It's a way to interpret the energies that are present around us and discern how we want to participate with those energies. Tarot is no different. It's a divinatory practice, that practice being action, that allows us to understand, same exact thing, the energies around us and what further potentials there might be, just like astrology. I mean, they're very much in that they're very complementary to each other. They use different symbolism, As you can see here, we've got cards, we've got imagery, we've got, um, you know, we've got pentacles present, so very earth-based energy, obviously. We've got different meanings, but when you look from an archetypal level, that higher archetype, like what is the energy present, whether I'm going to go with Jungian archetypes with like the magician, the king, the queen, the sovereign, the lover, the warrior. Um, no matter if it's astrology or if it's tarot, those archetypes still play out in both divinatory systems. So I love how tarot then can enhance astrology and astrology can enhance tarot. You'll see many readers talk about pentacles. Well, the Knight of Pentacles. You've got grapes here. Yes, this is a masculine energy. However, pentacles, earth signs, that's astrology. Earth signs. Where does the King of Pentacles fit on the astrological wheel when it comes to earth signs? This could be Capricorn, especially with that masculine energy present. Where it's like building and doing the things necessary to come and have things on earth. It could also be, let me see where else do I want to go? No, I'm not feeling Virgo with the King of Pentacles. We can go with the Knight of Pentacles. Definitely was not feeling the Virgo there. But this can be much more so. Yes, I get that Taurus is a feminine sign, I get that. Um, so is Capricorn, but just stick with me here. If you're talking about Taurus energy, here is a night. Here is where you get to build. You get to feel the security. You get to have safety in the things and in the safe things that you are building, that you're constructing in the world. This is where sticking to our values is very like a warrior has that integrity. It has the values that you are looking for, and it's slow and steady. The knight is slow and steady. He's full in armor up in here. It's not like he can go, speeding down. He's also only has a horse, so he's not the chariot. It's not like he can go speeding down the road and just like, oh, yep, I'm going to go 100 miles an hour. There's something very tempered, very patient, very, you know, let's think this through when it comes to this Knight of Pentacles. So this is how tarot can layer on and mix in with astrology, and how astrology can layer on and mix in with tarot. There's readings, and you'll see it if you're part of the Astro-Vision 2024, the tarot reading. I did a tarot reading for this group. Again, free to join. Go and check it out, where we talked about the astrology and then did a reading to help us understand how we can more easily move through the astrology of the month, giving us tips, giving us guidance, giving us further insights. So that for me is how I use tarot to enhance the understanding of astrology and vice versa. We got a few more questions, being mindful of time. Let's see. Let me see what other questions we have here. Which ones which ones sound great? Whoa. Lunar charts. This one's kind of interesting. What are some practical tips for incorporating lunar charts into our daily life? That is an interesting question, and the reason why I'm even choosing it is because I personally don't work with lunar energy in that way. I love my moons. I love looking at the moon. I understand the waxing and waning of the moon. I understand its ability within nature. I understand how it affects us. But that's where I think, this question for me really depends upon, and I'm seeing the Six of Swords again. It depends upon where you're at in your journey with astrology, with your intuition, with your esoteric practices, and those sorts of things. The moon is where I started. Um, and not incorporating necessarily like lunar charts where it was like, okay, we're at the waning moon, it's in the sign of Virgo, I need to be doing this, but more so really following moon cycles and setting intentions based on moon cycles, using, charging my crystals based on moon cycles. Um, honing into the ebbs and flows of moon cycles. That's where I started my journey and kind of got in. And I feel like it's a really wonderful entry point for those that maybe aren't as well versed in their astrological journey or just kind of starting out in those esoteric practices because it is so visual. We can see the moon. We can see its effects on the ocean. We can see its effects on plant life, on animals, on us. And it's a great way to begin to work with your intuition. Now, in today, with where I'm at in my own personal practice, lunar charts are not something that I look into on a day-to-day basis. I actually love talking about, and I'm in an astrology course with a wonderful astrologer, shout out to Lynette Duncan, Oracles of Your Soul, that she talks about these higher veils of the moon. And that now has become very interesting for me and a new way to think through and incorporate moon cycles and transits. There are some wonderful astrologers that I personally follow and listen to that do work with lunar energy day to day and can work through charts and show, like, hey, the moon is going to be squaring this on this day amongst all this other energy going on. You may want to look at that. Some great ones out there, especially on YouTube. I can always, if you have questions, go ahead and hit me up. I can send you to their pages. So it's very valid. I think all forms and all understandings are very valid. It's just that's really a personal thing for where you're at within your journey. Let's see what other question. We'll do two more. Between personal. Okay, so I'm gonna go with this question, and I've got my two other questions. We're just gonna. Okay. What strategies can we use to stay grounded during intense astrological transits? Well, I wish I had all those answers. Uh, Sometimes I feel like what strategies were in place before some astrological transits they just don't work for. Like there's been moments where I've sat, with my therapist, or I've sat talking to my husband and I'm like, yeah, this, I'm pulling out all the fucking stops. I'm pulling out every tool in my tool bag to make it through this moment, and it just is not working. What else do I need to do? So, I wanted to start off saying that because there is not a one one answer fits all. There's not one solution. We are absolutely unique. That's what I love about astrology is not only are the transits unique, the experiences are unique, but then they are uniquely our own in how they layer on top of our personal natal chart. And that's even the coolest thing. There are plenty of people in the world that were born on my exact date at my exact time whose natal chart looks completely different from mine. And that's where this individuation comes in. And again, in the world that we are in today, there's this notion, and it's honestly like I don't want to say a trigger, but it's something that's out there that we should just have one answer for something. It should just be a quick fix. It should just be easy. That's not the truth, and that is not reality in any way, shape, or form. Not reality. There are five swords here. There are five things that this, or six, six swords here. There are six things that this individual has tried and had to six different strategies that they're going to have to pull on as they go through this journey, as they cross the river Styx. Like that is just the way that it is. So some of the strategies that I use to stay grounded. Death. Death is here. Speaking of the river Styx, like you can't make the cards up. You can't make the messages up. To stay grounded, first off, I love mantras. I am a huge post-it note fan. Like, look, here's my post-its. Boom. I've got post-its all over the place. I like writing things down. Again, mercurial. Know thyself. Figure out, do you like to use your phone? My husband is very much an electronic. That's the way that he can dig in and do things. That's where he wants to keep. Doesn't have to write everything down. Me, I have to write everything down. If I write it down, I'm able to reduce overwhelm. So when, this card, this death is very present for me as I'm going down the boat, getting to where I need to get, and death comes where it's just this mass amount of overwhelm from an astrological transit and it's just intense. Um, it depends upon where I'm feeling it. If it's in my brain, if it's like, oh my God, I am so overwhelmed. I've got so much information up here. My very first strategy is to stop, sit down, and get everything that's in here down on paper. Not in an electronic mode. That doesn't work for me. It is with a pen, with a piece of paper, writing it all out. Then I can transfer it electronically, but it's this physical ability to like dump what's from my brain, bring it down my neck, bring it down my arm, and bring it out my finger and through a pen on a piece of paper that calms that restless mind energy. And that happens a lot with astrological transits. In fact, I'm expecting it when Jupiter gets into Gemini for me, being a Gemini rising. So that energy up there, one of my strategies is to write everything down. Then I put things in order. I have a very defined Virgo placement. I love my Virgo placement. Why? Because it gets to the details and it helps me put the right things in process. Boop, all the way down. So I look at what's the best strategy? What can I do? What gaps do I need to fill? Where's that at? And then once it's in order, I know all I have to do is execute. All I have to do is the work. All I have to do is walk it out. That's the easy part because I know myself. I will do the work. I will absolutely do the work. Saturn, thank you. I love my Saturn. So, that is one strategy that I use to stay grounded during astrological transits. I cannot express the importance of crying. Cannot express the importance of crying and congratulating yourself for crying. It's good to cry. It is good to release that energy, move that energy through you. And especially depending upon the type of astrological transit. If it's a heavy Mars transit, move your body. Go do some yoga. Go get in somatic exercises. Go for a walk, even as simplistic as that is. Go do something physical to move that energy through you. That's another strategy. Again, going back to crying because we don't want to leave that out there have a cry sesh. Have a cry sesh. It's okay. Put your tears in the lake. Keep pushing your boat through. Cry while you're doing things. That's okay. Though that energy needs to release itself. Again, this is depending upon where you are at in your practice, where you are at in comfortability wise. But another strategy, a lot of things tend to revolve around our nervous system. How can you work with your nervous system? What things work for you in regulating your nervous system? Meditation, breath work. Sometimes, honestly, one of my strategies is just getting in bed. I have one of those really amazing we have one of those really amazing beds that like the where the pillows are move up and like your legs move up, like it all orthopedically does its thing. Just to go lay in bed. I'm going to go sit up in bed. I'm not tired. I just want to be in bed. I want to be in comfort. I want to be in warmth. I'll read a book. I'll, look at TikTok videos. I'll just allow the process to happen. And that is going to be my last strategy before we move on to the next question. It doesn't have to be fucking huge. It doesn't have to look any sort of way. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be exact. It just has to be what feels right to you in that moment during that transit. If your body is calling for you to have soup and a hot toddy, go sit down and have soup and a hot toddy. If your body and your internal intuitive being is telling you, your Ori is telling you, go lay in bed all day and just relax. Go lay in bed all day and just relax. Have a Netflix session. That is still doing something. It is the other side, this part of you that's like, whether that's your inner saboteur or whatever, that is like, hi, you're not doing enough. You got to get those questions out of the way because that just piles on. Feel what you feel, valid, cry, whatever you need to do. Sometimes it might just be just taking a spiritual bath, taking I don't bath, but I don't like baths. That sounded weird. I don't like baths. But cleansing in the shower, doing a ritual in the shower, lighting some candles, getting some incense. It can be super duper duper simple. Literally can be simple. So those are some strategies to stay grounded during these intense astrological transits. And the last question before we wrap up today, right? Okay. Is how can participants prepare for and make the most out of the live sessions for Astro-Vision 2024? This was a planted question. I'm just saying, like, I like this one. All right. To prepare and make the most out of these live sessions. We are going to be doing this once per quarter. It will always be live out to the general public. It will be streamed on YouTube, X, and Twitch, just like all my other lives are. However, being part of that Astro-Vision community and that course, you're going to get further insight and details that are not available if you don't sign up for that course. And as you go through it, you're going to also get first crack at the information. So for example, quarter two is going to start in April. In the middle of March, I will be releasing the quarter two Astro-Vision 2024 video, as well as the exclusive tarot reading into the course. This community is going to have, and if you become part of this community, you will have 2 full weeks, if not more, to get the information before the general public does. So you can already begin preparing, you can begin thinking through, you can begin journaling, doing whatever your process is to get into that next quarter. Then, as we get into the live, which will always happen in the second month of the quarter, where this is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about it. Maybe one live will actually have guests come on. That can also be a thing. Again, this is all about the community and what the community needs are. But for sure, you're able to pop your questions in there, either get them answered right away or have them come in here to be answered during this live, first and foremost. So, preparation is really going and signing up if you haven't already. And just like that, let's see, no more messages. Yep, no more messages. We're putting the deck down. They're saying it's a wrap. Just like that, our cosmic journey through this first quarter, it's just peachy quarter, comes to a close for now. Thank you to everybody that joined and anybody that is on replay fam. We appreciate you so much. Thank you, Astro Visionaries, those that are already signed up for the course, for bringing your energy, curiosity, and your spirit to today's session. We have went through in this live the astrological currents of quarter 1 together, uncovered some messages and guidance through that, through the tarot. We've had multiple questions answered, and yeah, just remember, it's just the beginning. We're just in quarter 1. With each quarter, we're going to dive deeper and deeper. We're going to reach higher. We're going to grow together, and we're going to incorporate deeper and more profound understandings. So, if you haven't yet, be sure to sign up for Astro-Vision 2024. It is your ticket to a year filled with astrological exploration, tarot wisdom, and a community of fellow seekers. It is all free. The journey ahead promises more insights, exclusive content, and of course, the opportunity for your questions to make it into the spotlight during these live sessions. The link is waiting for you in the description box or my profile. So join us and ensure that you don't miss out what Spirit has in store. And to our seasoned astrologers and those just beginning, no matter where you are at in your journey, thank you for being part of today's adventure. As we look forward to the next quarter, remember that every planetary movement, every tarot card is a step on our path to deeper wisdom and understanding. Stay tuned for more Astrovision 2024 content. Keep those questions coming. Your engagement shapes our journey, making each live lesson a unique constellation of insights and revelations. Until next time, keep gazing at the stars, Astro Visionaries. Let's continue to make 2024 a year filled with discovery, growth, and cosmic connection. Farewell for now, but not for long. The universe has so much more to reveal.